Yo, it's your boy Heaven Hollywood back on the IE Network, and this is the Heaven Hollywood Report. And let's get to it. And we have some unfortunate news. So, former basketball wives star Royce Reed, who has a child by NBA player Dwight Howard, turned herself into the police on felony charge, third-degree felony charge of child neglect. Okay. Now, according to the documents, and shout out to Mob's World, according to the documents, Royce turned herself in. Police have been, and to the police, she's been charged with neglect of a child, which is a third-degree felony, on Thursday, March 10th, in Orange County. It appears as though it's due to her son's sexually molesting of her boyfriend's child. So it seems as though Royce is living with a guy that she's been with for 2 years, and her son, who is 13 years of age, has been molesting this young kid. I don't know how old this kid is, but the kid is young. It says records state the incident occurred at Braylon, which is Royce and Dwight Howard's son's name, Braylon's home. It's unknown if Braylon, who was around 13, and the other child reside in the same home at the time of the incident. Braylon has a history of sexual behaviors. He is currently in treatment at TrueCore Behavioral Solutions at 13 years of age. He's in treatment. Interesting if you think back at some of the public, outings or what have you of Dwight Howard. But we'll get back to that. He is currently in treatment at the TrueCore Behavioral Solutions. He has been in treatment for 8 months, so this has been going on for a while. Officer Chamberlain responded to Braylon's residence, where he met with Braylon's mother, Royce Reed. She explained Braylon's recently revealed new information about a sexual incident between the two boys that occurred approximately 1 year ago. Royce notified her son's sexual treatment counselor, who in turn contacted CF. I guess that's child services, what have you. Now, during the investigation, Braylon admitted he had sexually molested the child, stating it happened at least 2 times. He said that he made the child masturbate me, meaning he made the child give him a hand job, because I was angry at him. Braylon stated he believes anger triggers him into acting out sexually. And this is an issue that you're going to have to say starts at home. But we'll get back to that. Braylon was supposed to follow certain rules set by a judge. Specifically, he was not allowed to hang out with kids 2 years younger than him without an adult. Braylon is accused of breaking the rules, and Royce is being blamed. Royce appeared to have cooperated fully with investigators that did her boyfriend. Braylon was interviewed by police about the accusations. During the chat, he was asked the last time he saw his father. The report states Braylon said the last time was when he was in town for a basketball game, which was a while ago. He said the last time he was at Howard's house, which is Dwight Howard, was sometime during the 2020 quarantine. Braylon claimed he had been in contact with his father, but they have not spoken since they got into an argument. Now, this is really sad. And then I'm looking here at the paperwork, about the interviews that they had with her and with the child. I mean, this is crazy. So it seems as though this child has been having these issues, these sexual issues, and the reason why they're asking when's the last time you've seen his father, because they're trying to see whether it is something that was maybe going on at his father's home. Was he being, of course they're looking to see, was he being molested by his father? I mean, it could be all sorts of things that they're looking into. It's about 6 or 7 days of documents about when the police interviewed him, and he's given in depth about these incidents with this child. Now, he's saying, there's an incident here where he said he made the child, you know, a mess, give him, a hand job inside a movie theater. It says, let's see here, relationship with children. He said, "Oh, that's over. The kids." Okay. Once CC Ogletree finished her questions, I had a couple follow-up questions for. They have the name scratched out. I guess that's the name of the kid. I asked him when he was made aware of Braylon, to which he replied, "I was fairly early on." So I guess this is maybe Royce's boyfriend. I was made aware of it fairly early on, stating he and Royce were together when the 2020 case was going on. So he had another case in 2020. A couple of days after it came to light, Royce told him everything that transpired. I then asked about red flags being raised with that case, to which she said it did. But because the case involved a girl, he further stated he thought they had established a relationship of trust. He did not think Braylon would do anything in this to his children. He continued saying he thought Braylon respected him enough and cared enough about the boys, but he now realized he was wrong. He said, next we spoke with Crystal, where CC Ogletree obtained information for her report. She then asked her why DCF and law enforcement were involved with her family, to which she replied she was contacted by, and a lot of these is blanked out. It's hard to read the paperwork because they have a lot of stuff blanked out, but this is really just going over the incidents that he had prior. So it looks like he had an incident with a younger girl, and now it's an incident with her Royce's boyfriend's son. So that's the reason why they're bringing her up on child neglect. Wow. In the community, I'm going to link this story so you guys can take a look at the paperwork. It'll be a little harder to read it here on screen. But this is, something that is very alarming. He's 13 years old, and God only knows when this started. And most of the time, I'm not saying all the time, I'm not blaming Dwight, I'm not blaming Royce Reed, but most of the time, this starts with a child, if that child is molested. Most of the time these things come out, the child was molested at a young age. And, you see her mugshot here. She was stating that, on social media, she admitted that she turned herself in. She was looking like that because she was crying all day and all night. Here's one quick thing here. I explained to Braylon and Royce that we were just going to have a conversation about what had transpired. I asked Royce about her relationship with, I guess, the boyfriend. She said we had been together for approximately 2 years and the boys were like brothers. I inquired about the pre-child diversion, to which Royce said since he started the program, he was doing very well. She said Braylon had started the program on 6/22/2021, and since then, this therapist letter has spoken highly of him and didn't believe he was a threat or would reoffend. However, this incident occurred before Braylon started the program. I asked Braylon how he thought this therapy was going, to which he said it was going good. He said it was teaching him not to act on his urges he gets and teaching him how to stop them from coming up. I asked Braylon what he thinks causes urges. He said when he is on the internet and sees things that urges him. So he's on the internet and seeing things that urges him. I asked him what things on the internet he was referring to, which he said regular picture of girls on the internet, not pornography. I asked Braylon about the urges that come when he gets angry. He said that he does cause some of the urges, but now that he is going through treatment, he knows how to manage his anger. It was like he provided examples of walking away from people, going to his room, etc. I asked about his father, and when he last saw him, President said the last time he saw his father house in Georgia, which he said was sometime during the 2020 quarantine. Um, Finally asked about what he thinks of the boys, I'm going to assume. He said the boys looked up to him as a big brother and they enjoy hanging out and doing things. Roy said the boys are extremely close, even after the incident, and she believes the program is working. It happened before entering the program. Man, this is tough to read. You know, he's saying the things he sees on the internet. I'm sure, like Instagram and girls on Instagram, these Instagram models, what have you, at some point, you know, you have to, he's 13 years old. So how long has he been looking at girls on the internet? How long has he had access to Instagram or internet? And when you're between two homes, it's kind of hard, especially if you're Dwight Howard, who doesn't really seem to spend a lot of time or pay a lot of attention to this kid, judging from what I see. But again, I don't want to be the judge and jury of anybody. But this just lets you know, man, you have to keep close eye on your kid from the beginning. You can't start, once something happens, then you start saying, oh, want to keep an eye on them. No. This is something that, the kid is obviously, as he stated, something started him with these urges, and a lot of times, and I'm not trying to blame Dwight Howard, I'm not trying to blame Royce Reed or any of her past boyfriends or current boyfriends. But most of the time, this happens because an adult does it to the child. And that's how they get introduced to it. But now that also, who has Dwight Howard had around this kid since he was younger? We know that from the stories that we've seen, Dwight Howard is his social life is out there. If I believe he has multiple baby mamas, he's been caught in scandals involving transgenders. In the past, he's been the subject of a lot of suspect activity involving other men on the court, and just little things that he does when he's acting. When he's doing Dwight Howard things, and people chalk it up to, oh, that's just Dwight acting silly. So we don't know what's happening. Dwight has had obviously many women in his life, so I'm sure that his son Braylon has seen different people at his house. I mean, God only knows when this first started, but I say this, I made this video to say, man, just keep your eye on your children from early on. And then a lot of times these things can be prevented if they you know every time your child goes somewhere. I make it a point of my daughter, every time she goes and spends time over someone else's house, when she comes back, I ask her, did you see who was over there? Were you alone with anybody? Did anybody touch you? And did anybody touch you on your leg? Did anybody touch I make sure that she says that if anything happens that seems a little out of the ordinary, you come back. I don't care who is with you. I don't care if it's your uncle, your aunt, even if it's someone you did not expect. You have to tell me. You have to make sure you question your kids. That's why I do not allow my daughter to spend the night over anyone's house until she gets older. So we're going to hope that this thing works out. We'll keep you updated on any other developments. Like I said, I'm going to put the paperwork in the community. You guys can check it out. It's tough to read. It's cringeworthy, but we wish Royce the best, and prayers up for her son and her family. It's your boy Heaven Hollywood for the IE Network. Please like, comment, and subscribe.